The public has until the 16th of September to comment on the newly drafted Unlawful Entering on Premises Bill. The bill is set to replace the Trespass Act of 1959. If passed, the new laws will prohibit unlawful entry on property. For instance, someone caught on premises without the occupant's consent will be guilty of an offence. So does this mean every property owner should have a no trespassing sign on their gates? Well, to help us unpack this, I'm joined now by Nthabiseng Dubazana, Attorney and Director at Dubazana Attorneys. Nthabiseng, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us on today. Welcome to ENCA. First question, I did not realize that the Trespass Act dates back to the days of apartheid in 1959 and is still in force until now. I don't know why it's taking so long for these old laws to be changed.
I think it's because most people are not challenging it. No one is really taking it to court because maybe it's not infringing on any constitutional right of theirs. So that's why it's taking so long for any transformation to happen in the law. I mean, even in the Criminal Procedure Act is from 1977. So you understand, even though parts of it have been amended as the years go by, but the full act itself is Act 51 of 1977. So yeah, it will take some time, I think.
So now there's a new draft bill to amend that Trespass Act of 1959 and change it. What are the key aspects of this draft?
So the draft is actually aiming to repeal the entire act. So the Trespass Act will be removed completely and then replaced by this new bill. So what the aim is that it's usually for when I read the bill, it is mainly for example, unoccupied premises, so abandoned buildings and all of that, and also unoccupied land. So that is basically how they seem to have drafted it. However, it does even apply to your normal home in that you need to, for example, if your premises is in the premises whereby you play bowling, for example, it should be a sign there that says this premises is used for bowling. And if you want to enter it and then you do something outside of what this premises is used for, then you will be found to be guilty of unlawful entry into this premises. Now, what makes it blurry is that a person can use a defense in that they had implied or tacit consent from the owner or the lawful occupier to enter the premises. So it's going to be very difficult to try and assess the implied or tacit consent that was received from the owner or the lawful occupier, and unless it is written consent as per the bill as well suggests. But also in the same breath, when I beg your pardon, yes.
No, you continue. You're saying also in the same breath?
In the same breath, what happens is that they're also looking at situations whereby you have abandoned a building or you have abandoned a place to live. So that's why they also emphasize or look at the situation whereby Nthabiseng has entered Ndate Moyane's premises and has erected a building there. You are now given permission to call the police. In fact, the wording is you are supposed to say out loud with a voice and warn Nthabiseng that you need to get out of my premises within a certain time. And then thereafter, if they don't leave, then you're allowed to call the SAPS to come and assist you to remove this person. But now we're also infringing on the Eviction Act, the PI Act, I beg your pardon, which now gives a very huge contradiction how to deal with evicting people and also dealing with the issue of unlawful trespassers.
So does it also deal with the powers of the police in this regard to say what can the police do if you have called them?
Yes, it does. The police now have a right to now arrest you and have you removed from the premises and also now charge you under this act for unlawful entry into a premises. So that will now be the new charge. It will no longer be trespassing.
Okay, so you said if there was an incident of someone caught on or in a premises that are private without the explicit or implied consent of the owner, they need to give a warning verbally to say, please leave my premises. But before that happens, are property owners now, according to this draft deal, going to be required to put up signs to say no trespassers allowed?
Yes. So what it says actually is that you must put up a sign that says what activities are not allowed on this premises. So, for example, if it's just a home, it means there's no swimming, there's no drinking, there's no all of these things. And then that writing should be so bold and legible. And then there should be a line going across whatever it is that you say is not allowed in this premises. If you're using words, if you're using graphics, the same thing. The picture should be there, I beg your pardon, and should be legible, and then a huge line across it saying you're not allowed to do this. So that's going to be complicated, because how do you then differentiate a home, a deserted area, and a place used for business?
Yeah. Now, I see that according to the draft bill, and I want your views on this, is that if someone is found guilty, they're trespassing under the new act, whenever it's going to come into force in the future, if it's approved, they could face a fine. I don't know how much, if the draft bill says how much that fine, or up to 2 years in jail.
Yes. So the bill doesn't specify how much the fine would be. That would be within the magistrates can decide how much the fine would be. So I guess it would depend on the merits of the case, what the Ntabiseng, who would be the accused in this matter, was found doing in the premises. But then if Ntabiseng can also raise a defense saying that I was under the impression that I am allowed to be here, and reasonably a person who hears her version of events can say, you know what, based on what you're saying, we understand why you thought you had the right to be here, and therefore be found not guilty. So that's going to be very interesting to see how it works out in court.
Yeah, and then, of course, the public has until the 15th of September to make their comments, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in that. Thank you very much, Ntabiseng Dubazana, for your time on today here on ENCA. She's a director at Dubazana Attorneys.